We're real excited. 2019. This is the first Sunday of 2019. Do you guys have a good New Year's? Everyone have a good? Yes. Did anyone make, and now don't lie to me, like first service completely lied to me. Did anyone actually make a New Year's resolution? Did anyone just, yeah, okay, thank you for being honest. Did you keep it? Are we, somewhat, about 50%. It's so funny. Like, we'll make them, and then I'm like, you know what? 2020 is right around the corner. So let's go in and just push that one to 2020, and we'll do it then. And it's just so funny, though. We make these things. It's just a day, but something about the day that changes, and it's like a do-over, a second chance, a mulligan. You can start over with starting that. And that's what I love about the first Sunday of the year. First Sunday of the year kind of gets you back on track, brings you back together, brings you all collectively together. And today, I would love for you guys to just be a part of what we're doing, and I'm going to share a little bit, and it's going to be a fun morning. But today's message title is this: Come to the Party. Come to the party. I know, you're like, what does that have to do with anything? You'll find out. Hey, in 2018, we started off the year in 2018 with two things that we said we wanted to do as a church. We wanted to get closer to Jesus than we ever have been before in our life. And the second thing we wanted to do was to make the biggest difference in someone else's life. We wanted it to be when someone said who has made a big difference in their life, they would say your name. And it was really exciting. We kind of talked about that through the whole year, kind of put those challenges out there and what's that look like. And now stepping into 2019, I was saying, well, what are we looking at for 2019? And what a verse are we coming around as a church collectively? I love us coming together collectively on a mission, coming together and saying, you know what? Here's a verse to really strive for in 2019. And I have two words that I'd love for us to just kind of take heart for 2019. You'll hear me talk about them a lot. In 2019, you'll hear me share. You'll hear me, I'm going to live by them. So the verse for 2019 is going to be in Ephesians chapter 4, verses 1. It says, I urge you to live a life worthy of the calling that you have received. 2019, church, we're going to say we're urging, or we're pushing, or we're going to live a life that is worthy of the calling you have received. We're going to challenge our church to live in that manner, live a life that is worthy in that calling. And the two words that I have for 2019 for ourselves to kind of like rally around, and I'm going to preach around it, is this: to live a life with boldness and urgency. To live a life with boldness, that we're going to be bold in things that we do in our life. We're going to be bold in our faith, in sharing it, and have urgency. We're going to push through. We're not going to wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow we're not guaranteed. Today we are guaranteed. Today we are alive and well. So today we're going to be bold. I'm going to be bold in my communication to the church. I'm going to be bold, and we're not going to wait for them. We're going to push forward. We're going to wait on God, but we're going to push. We're not going to wait. We're going to push forward. We're going to be bold. I'm going to be bold in 2019. Now, here's the thing. I really just want you to understand this and say, well, what's that mean about the whole church? As a pastor, as a preacher, I want to be very bold in 2019. I want to live a life with urgency in our church. That, you know what, we don't know what the year looks like for us, but we're going to press forward. And the way I communicate is going to ruffle some feathers. And hopefully you're okay with that. But I want to do that. And really what we're trying to do in our church is we like to go after your heart. And we learned that if you try to go after someone's heart, it can get them to move to get closer to Jesus. So the way I communicate, if you're new here with us, is that I just preach out of the word, and we just kind of like break down what the word says and allow that to touch your heart. And I'm going to challenge you on this, is that 2019, you can make some really good decisions. You already made probably the best one you did by coming to church this morning, giving God first Sunday of the year. You only have 51 more to go. Like, it's that easy. And but what we like to do here is to go after heart. We don't do a lot of practical, like if you do this, do this, do this, everything's great. Or you give this and you're going to get this. We don't do that. What we really like to do is just, hey, you know what? The heart is really what God is after. So we're going to preach to that. And we know that if we can't change anyone, we can't convict you, we can't change you, but God can. So if we reveal God's heart for you, hopefully you'll reveal your heart to him and give it to him. So we love to go after the heart. We like to preach to the heart. So, and I always say this, is that if you can make it through a couple of weeks here at Mission City Church, you're going to make it through. You're going to make it, and you're going to stay, you're going to keep it. A lot of people come here like, oh, that was too much for me. I'm going to get on out of here. That was a little too many tears, or a little bit maybe not feeling that great. But if you can stick it through, I can see God move through your life. It'll be incredible. So I'm going to challenge you to stick it through. Just allow God to work through you and allow him to touch your heart in 2019. And I've seen him do incredible stuff. And I'd love for us to just take a survey, and just an internal survey of your faith of 2018. And for my faith, if we had to put a scale up on the screen, which we have one, and when I know we don't like talking about scales, especially at the beginning of the year after the holidays. You're like, why are we talking about scales? Scales are the worst thing ever. I avoid scales, I tell you that. I do not. I only get on a scale when I know it's going to be a number I want to see. I am preparing it. I'm ready to see it. I'm like, I'm going to get on that thing. I don't get on the scale to depress myself. That is so depressing. Like, I know I'm fat. Like, I get it. Like, thank you for confirming that. Like, I want to get on it when I know I feel good. Like, haven't eaten for a week. This is going to be awesome. Like, let's do this. But we had to look at a scale for our faith. Now, let's just take it over for the whole year of 2018. And I'm going to be very, very honest and transparent with you on my level of where I felt for 2018, where my faith level was. Now, I don't want you to judge me or get mad at me. I just want to be real with you and understand that, pastors aren't perfect. And we always don't have the strongest of faith ever. And I want to tell you, out of all the things that happened in 2018, did you worry more or pray more? Did you try to figure out things on your own? Did you trust God? Did you always have plan B? Or did you always stick with plan A? Like, where did your faith, if you could take a tally of it all and bring it all together, and I'll just tell you what mine is, I would say I would have landed somewhere. Now remember, we had the Be Bold conference. We had multiple people come into our church. We've seen multiple people give their life to Jesus. We raised $500,000 for Night of Hope. Night of Hope happened. Like, so many cool things happened in the year of 2018. And I had to trust God a lot that he would come through. And my faith level was between a 5 and a 6. That was my faith level. I had times that I've had, well, there's plan B. Do we have plan C ready to go? Plan B don't work out, and if God doesn't come through on plan A. And I found myself throughout 2018 with a faith level of a 5 or a 6. Now, I told you not to judge me. You're like, oh, pastor's not that good. Like, chill out, y'all. Seriously. A 5 or a 6 is where I kind of found myself. And I started to think, though, what would it look like if I went up 2 notches? My wife would say, you wouldn't look good because you'd be gaining weight in your belt. But no, if I went up 2 notches in my faith, what would it look like if my faith did not stay in a 5 or a 6, but for 2019, my faith went to a 10? What if it looked like that everything that God has promised, he shows up on? What if it happens in 2019 that, you know what, I trust God completely. I don't even think of plan B. I don't even think of plan C, but I only have one plan, and it's plan A, and then it's trusting God in everything. What would happen? Look at the incredible things that happened in 2018 on a small little measure, and I look at my life. I had a baby. He was healthy. I didn't have it. Sarah had the baby. Like, a healthy baby. So many incredible things. But whatever we said we were going to do, God provided well more than what we expected. So many incredible things happened. And I saw him come through with a faith level of a 5 or a 6. Whoo! Could you imagine what it would look like at a faith level of a 10? And so, you know what? I'm going to trust God completely. Could you imagine what he could do in your life if your faith was a little bit stronger? If you trusted him a little bit more? Could you imagine what would happen in your life if you went a little bit further in trusting God? And how I learned how you trust God is you show up to the party. You show up to the party that he has already prepared, a party that he has prepared for you. You come to the party prepared, ready, and say, I want to be used by God. Have you guys ever got invited on Facebook? I made this graphic. It's incredible. You ever been invited on Facebook to an event, and there's 3 options on it? And the option is 1, ignore, maybe, or going. And I kind of find ourselves with, when you get invited to something, you're just mean if you click ignore, okay? Like, you're just a mean person, okay? So for me, I just ignore the whole thing. Like, didn't see that, because I feel like if I click ignore, I feel like that's going to go to that person, and that person's going to get really mad. They're like, Pastor, why don't you care about me? I'm like, I just didn't want to come to your party. Like, that's just the truth of the matter. But I don't click it. But the easy option for all of us to do is what? To click? Maybe. Maybe is the easiest thing. Maybe it's just like, I don't have to commit too much. Maybe I will be there. Because if you click going, have you ever had a friend that you invited to a party and they said, yeah, I'm coming. I'll bring the chips and the salsa, and they don't show up? You ever had that? Or maybe you are that friend. You're like, oh, that made it real awkward now. You invite somebody and they say, man, I want to come to the party. I'll be there. You know what? I'll bring the cookies. Okay, great. So you got the dessert covered? Yeah, I got the dessert covered. You show up at the party, they're not there. And you got no dessert. And now there's angry people. And you're like, what happened? You're like, oh, you know what? I forgot about it. Oh, something came up. Life got in the way. A kid had a soccer practice. Something else was going on. Life just got in the way. I wasn't able to make it. So what we found ourselves now, it's easier to say, maybe I'll be there. Maybe there's not much commitment. Maybe gets you like, you know what, I don't have to bring anything. They're not going to expect if I be there. I'm giving them the courtesy saying, you know what, I like what you're doing. I'm going to give you a maybe, but I ain't going to show up. And it's easy to click. That maybe button is very, very, very simple for us to hit. Going involves a little bit of a commitment that we don't really like, nor you're just a mean person. Okay, that's just what you are. So maybe is where we kind of land. But I want to come us today. I want to say, you know what, let's come to the party prepared. Let's prepare to hit click going. And let's come to the party and ready to show up and bring the cookies. Let's do that in God's party. And if you have your Bibles with you today, I'd love for you to open to Matthew chapter 22. Matthew chapter 22 is a scripture of Jesus sharing a parable. And to be honest, this is not something you open up 2019 with. This is not something, pastors love to preach out of Matthew chapter 22. It's kind of a tough verse to get around. It's kind of goes after the heart a little bit, and it kind of paints God in a picture that we don't like to paint God in at times. We like to paint God as a happy God, and this paints God in a different picture. And Jesus is sharing in this parable here. And in parables, if you're new to church, Jesus would speak in parables to be able to share with multiple people. He would take life situations and kind of use them as examples because a lot of people were coming around him, and he would share parables of stories of situations they would know of so he can talk to their heart. So he would share this in a parable here, and he's talking about a wedding banquet. And we'll show here what it looks like. It's Jesus here speaking. Says Jesus spoke to them again in parables, saying, the kingdom of heaven is like a king who prepared a wedding banquet for his son. So he's talking here saying a wedding is coming. A king is preparing. Now in this story, Jesus is using the king as God. So think of God as the king in here talking like this. He says preparing a banquet, a party for his son's wedding. So preparing it for his son's wedding. So he sent his servants out to those who have been invited to the banquet to tell them to come, but they refused to come. Now, here's what I want you to understand in the story here. In this story, these people have already been invited, and they already have said yes. They've already clicked going on Facebook. They said, we're in, and we're coming. We can't prepare. We're coming prepared. We're ready. We cannot wait to party. So they have already been invited, and now he's sending his servants to go out and say, you know what? We're ready to have the party now. You already said you were coming. We're ready to have the party. So go ahead and show up and come to the party. But they refused. But you said you were going on Facebook. They refused. So they refused in this. So then he sent more of his servants and said, tell those who have been invited. They have been invited. He says, I have already prepared the dinner. I already got it all set out. You guys don't need to bring the Chippehoys. I got the covered. You don't need to bring anything. I got the oxen and the fatted cattle, and they've already been butchered, and everything is ready. Come to the party. It's going to be lit. It's going to be amazing, right? Like, you want to come. Like, he said, I already got it ready. This is going to be exciting. He's inviting those, the friends that said, I'll be there. I want to be there, part of your son's celebration. We'll be at the party. We already clicked going. We're here. We're ready. He says, go tell them everything's prepared. They just need to show up. They just need to show up and be a part of it. I got food ready. Just show up to the wedding. But they paid no attention to it. And they went off. And one went off to the field, and he's like, I got stuff to do. I got to go to the field. And the other said, I got business to take care of. I got to go take care of business. And those friends you invite to parties and things like that, you're like, oh, something came up. Man, life got in the way. Oh, another opportunity. Clicking maybe on Facebook makes it like, I don't want to commit because if something better comes in, I'll go to that. I'll choose that instead. But if this is what's left, I might show up to this. They said, I got other things to do. They paid no attention. We don't want to come. I'm going to go to my field, and I'm going to go take care of my business. So they went off. Do you remember now? God in this story here prepared the table. The king, man, my son's wedding. Food, fat, oxen. The burnt ends on this thing is going to be amazing. I got barbecue sauce. It's going to be awesome. It's ready. It's prepared. Come and eat of this. You're like, man, that sounds pretty cool, but these people didn't care? Like, wow, what mean people. He's already prepared. They already said they were going. That's messed up. You know how messed up you'd feel if you prepared, planned the dinner, and then no one showed up? How hurt you would feel. You're like, man, I thought I had friends that said they were going to show up and be there for me. So that's what happened here, and they just didn't care. They had other things to do. So he what did he do? He sent his servants, and what did he happen to go here? He had them killed, mistreated, and kill them. What? I ain't saying nothing on Facebook anymore. People like this. They're crazy people. He killed them, and then the king sent out an army to destroy and murder and burn down their cities. Oh, messed up dude. You don't turn your back on this guy. Like, whoa, angry. But the thing is, we read this story, and Jesus is sharing this parable, and it's painting picture as God is this God that's just angry and mad and out to get you. And we think of that sometimes as God. We think God sometimes is this God up in heaven, with his arms folded, just waiting for someone to screw up. You're like, oh, can't wait to ping them down. Oh, do it. Can't wait. And this is what we see here. And that's hurtful, but we see where God's hurt probably came in this picture. We see that. And could you imagine inviting friends to a thing and they don't show up? Can I be very honest and truthful? I want to be very, very honest and truthful of something that I was hurt on, but it was a pity party for myself. Can I do that with you, church? Is that okay without you getting mad or getting angry at me and that kind of stuff? And I want to share this because sometimes the enemy will play in your own head. And the enemy will tell you things that you don't want to hear, but you hear them and you feed off them and you fester off. And you're like, oh, that's so true. This is how people really think about you. And, December 31st was my birthday. I know, happy birthday. I know. Thank you. And you think, you prepare, like, okay, you say, people ask you, what do you want for your birthday? Nothing. But somebody always feels they have to get you something, so they get you something. But honestly, I tell my wife, like, honestly, baby, you should honestly wrap a box of nothing in it and just like open it. I'm like, oh, nothing. Love it. This is fantastic. Open up nothing. Said that's exactly what you said you wanted. And for me, I'm the kind of guy that like I love planning parties. I love buying gifts. I love doing things for people for their birthdays or things like that. And I'm just going to be very truthful and honest with you. And I expected something more for something on my birthday. I was expecting that people would be like, oh, we're going to celebrate Dustin and do these kind of things. But truthfully, I spent dinner alone on my birthday, on New Year's Eve. And not a pity party for me or get anything from you, but it was my decision to do this. I chose and allowed to let the enemy to speak in my head and saying, people don't care about you, Dustin. No one prepared enough for you, Dustin. And it made me start to feel like, wow, they really do not care. And I allowed that to happen. So I went to Tsunami by myself. And I watched that hibachi, grill and all that kind of stuff. I got a free dinner. They sang happy birthday to me. It was incredible. I loved it. Got my yum yum sauce. It was amazing. Fantastic. Loved it. It was incredible. But you can allow that. And I think of this, though, in this story here of what Jesus is sharing here. This king prepared a table, got it ready, saying that God is prepared and has so much for you. But people are not showing up to the party. Could you imagine how God felt in that? Could you imagine how he feels when we don't show up? Could you imagine what that looked like for him? So we picture now like, okay, then if that's God, this is how a human reacts. So for me, as saying, well, you know what? People don't care about, you know what? Fine. They don't care about me. They get nothing. Like, I don't know why. You get nothing. That's how we would respond as human beings. So we automatically take what we think of how we would respond to it and immediately flip that to God. So, well, then, you know what? That's what God does. If I turn my back against God or people against God, better smack them down. God owes them. Take them down, God. They've been sinning against you. They've been going after you. They've been doing it. Because that's not who God actually is, because we take this one scripture here and we kind of flip it to like God is just this angry, mean God here. But then he said to his servants that the wedding banquet is ready though. So now those people that were coming, he's like, nah, they're not coming anymore. Kill them, burn their cities, move on from that. But he said this, and this is incredible. And if you missed this, you missed the message. He said to the servants, the wedding banquet is ready, but those I invited do not deserve to come. They don't deserve to come anymore. So he said, go to the street corners and invite to the banquet anyone you find. Amazing here. This is exactly picture of Jesus coming into the picture here. So he sent his servants and went out to the street corners, and he said, gather all that you can find, the bad and the good. There you go, Jesus saying, come one, come all. You're welcome to the party. Come one, come all. Do not say, oh, pick this, pick. He says, come one, come all. Come to the party. The wedding hall was filled with guests. So he sent his people, he sent his servants to go and find the good and the bad and said, you know what? You come to the party. You're welcome at the party. We want you at the party. But when the king came in to the guests and he saw the guests, he noticed a man there that was not wearing wedding clothes. Okay, so the wedding has been prepared, the food, everything, the food's ready. And now it's just saying in this story here that the king prepared the clothes because everyone came in with wedding clothes. They just grabbed them off street corners. So that means he prepared clothes. He had clothes to put on the people. They have now clothes on them that are wedding clothes. But then there's this one individual in there that he noticed that did not have wedding clothes in. So what does that mean? This man sneaked in. This man showed up and he was not invited. He just showed up into the party and he was noticed by the king. And it's incredible what happens here. He says, so he asked him, he said, how did you get in here without wedding clothes, friend? I don't think that was like a nice way. I'd be like, tell me how'd that really work out for, like friend, like that wasn't like a friendly way. He's like, friend, I don't think that was a friend. I think he's trying to figure out what's happening here. He just killed a whole bunch of people and burned down their city. So like, I watch my words here. And the man stood speechless. How'd you get in here, friend? The man stood speechless. He prepared the place, got the food, clothed the people, and now he's at the wedding standing before the king, speechless, because he just showed up. You know, it's funny though, one day you and I will stand in judgment, stand before, and we'll be held account for all that we have been given. I like that, it's good. Yeah, I like it, it's good. And we'll be held account for it, and we'll stand before that. Just as this was stand before. And it was a friend stand before in his clothes, his food. Yeah, Holly, it's good, Holly. Just keep your phone. It's good, girl. I like you. And he stood speechless. I don't want to stand before God speechless, but saying, hey, I've given you this. I've given you these resources. You said you were going to come to the party. You said you were going to bring the chips and salsas, but you didn't bring anything. You're not even dressed, prepared, ready, or even knowing me. Who are you? And he had nothing to say. Nothing to say. So then the king told the attendees to tie his hands and his feet, and throw him outside into the darkness where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. This is a terrifying picture here. And then he says, for many are invited, but few are chosen. You and I do not like thinking of God in this picture. We want to think of God as like the happy-go-lucky, yeah, man, going to be a party. Let's do this. We don't like thinking God as a mean God. We don't like thinking of God as an angry God. We want to think of God as pictures like this, like, oh, love it. Like, he's so happy and gentle. We think of Jesus like, oh, you're amazing. I've been to Israel. Israel does not look like that. That's like North Carolina. Like, that's not Israel. And he's a Jew, and he's Jewish, and he doesn't look Jewish. He's a good-looking white man right here, just looking good. Man, he's well manicured, but we're like, oh, I like this Jesus. This Jesus is good. He seems gentle. He just seems like he just wants to hang out and so soft and lovely. We paint Jesus in this picture. This is who we like to think of Jesus as, not as what that said. Like, oh, we want to think of Jesus like this. Like, oh, let's party. Woo-hoo, it's going to be best time ever. No, we want to think of Jesus like he's throwing a party, y'all. It's going to be lit. It's off the chain. We like Jesus. We like Jesus like, yeah, baby. Oh, we love this. Who is this fool, y'all? Blue eye, oh, fool. Like, we love pictures of Jesus like this. This is what we like. We like, oh, he's so happy. He cares for me. Yeah, live your life. I got your back. Don't you worry about that. I got you. We love pictures like this. We do not like pictures like this. The king was mad. And he sent an army to destroy and murder and burn down the cities. We do not think of it. We want this. Right? That's what we want. We don't want this. But this is fun. Oh, man, live your life. Live your best life right now. Oh, it's so good. I got so much for you. And man, all you got to do is just take. Oh, just enjoy your life. I got you in the end. I got you covered. We like that. We do not like this. He sent an army to destroy and murder and burn down their cities. No, let's go back to that one. That's where we want to live. We don't like thinking God is an angry God or a mean God. That's why no one wants to preach on Matthew 22, because it paints God in this picture that he's mad. But we're missing what it said, though. He's like, this is what he said, but verses 1-5 said, you know what? The kingdom of heaven is like a king who prepared a wedding banquet for his son, and he sent his servants to those who have been invited to the banquet. He sent an invitation, and he invites. He invited, but they refused to come. And then he sent more servants and said, hey, wake up. I invited you. Come on, get on board here. I invited you to the party. Hey, I'm giving you more shots. Come join me. Come be at the party. Come be. Verses 1-5 talks about he's inviting, he's bringing in. I prepared a table. I fattened the calf. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be the best party ever. You don't need to bring anything. Just show up. I just want you to be a part of the party. You already said you were going to come. Will you just please come to the party? What this shows, though, is that God is a God of grace and mercy, though. You say, we may read that story and be like, well, God's a mad God. God's an angry God. No, this story, verses 1-5, shares that God is a God of mercy and grace. God is a God of second chances. God is a God of do-overs, giving you multiple times to say, come to the party. Come and be a part of what's happening. There's so much good stuff happening here. Come be a part. That is a God of grace and mercy. And he's just saying, hey, this is what happens to those that don't show up. The ones that are just like, I don't know, I got better things to do. I'm going to go take care of my business. I got more things happening. He says, I'm going to go ahead and take. He's like, guys, wake up. He's inviting you. But you're missing it because you're going to really miss out on that day when the party's come and gone. Where will you be? This story shares a story of God's grace and his mercy. You need to understand grace. You need to grasp it. I think for so many of us, we take grace so far. We take advantage of it so much. And I think some of us take grace as a one-time thing. You know, well, God gave me grace. There's no way I can come to his party now. I've screwed up too many times. I've done too many mistakes. I've said too many different things. I'm on my second or third or fourth marriage now. My kids are a screw up. There's no way God is going to allow me into the party now. And now I'm just hopeful that he'll let me in when that day comes. You know, so many people are so scared of that day of death. And so when I will be judged, I'm just hoping and praying that God will let me in. You know, you can bank on that. You can bank on that God will let you in if you give your life to him. Because it's a God of grace and mercy. The other day, my kids, we went to Disney. It's called Hell on Earth, but it's just even Dumbo over here, like just his face just makes me mad. It's like, parents, we know it sucks too. Like, I got you. The other day we were at Disney and it was a busy time and we were pushing, it was my friends and we all had these baby strollers. I think we had like 5 deep baby strollers or something like that. And I had 2 of my kids in the stroller, Riley and London, and London is crying as all get out, hysterically crying. And I think it's because Riley's smacking her and it's like this, it was just loud as all get out. The place is insanely packed. I'm pushing this double wide stroller that's like a Cadillac. I don't know why it has to be so big, but it's massive. This huge thing through the castle. And I'm walking through the castle. Kids are screaming. Kids are mad. Kids are all angry. And I walk by a cast member. And I'm like, this is so magical. Love it here. Fantastic. And she just starts laughing, and that's the truth. Like, we paint this like, oh, it's so amazing. But no, it's hell on earth. It's what it is. Like, and we spent a fortune there, and it sucks. But we go all the time. And the other time I took my girls there a few weeks ago, and I took them at night, and we went for the fireworks. And after the fireworks, it was the best idea to take a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old and keep them past 10 o'clock at night. Great idea. Great parenting. You know, you got your issues, I got mine. Deal with yours. And I took them out, and I said, hey, girls, you want to go ride rides? And London says snacks, and that's all she ever says, snacks. And Riley's like, yeah, let's do it. And we went to Dumbo. And usually we go there, you have to stand in this long line. Well, we got right up to the front. We got right on Dumbo. We got on Dumbo, and we rode Dumbo, and it was magical. Let me tell you. Went around 3 times, and then you came back down. Amazing, right? You do it, and then the lady says, hey, you guys don't have to get out. You can continue to keep riding. Like, okay, let's do that. So we get back on. We go keep going around. We come back. Hey, no one else is in line. You can continue to keep riding. And I was like, wow, you really don't like me, but okay. We'll just continue to keep doing this. And we continued to keep riding it, and it brought this thought to me that grace is a lifelong ride. We think sometimes grace is this one ticket, like, oh, he gave you grace once, but don't you screw up. Oh, no, grace is a lifelong ride. Grace is a ticket that continues. You don't have to get off the ride of Dumbo. You can continue to keep riding it. It's magical, is what it is. Grace is a lifelong. Grace is a lifelong line, and giving grace is a lifelong ride. Here's what I mean. Some of you need to give grace to your spouse, to your kids, to your friends, to your neighbors, to your coworkers. Grace is not a one-time thing. Well, I forgave them once, but if they do me wrong again, I'm going to take care of it. They're not in anymore. They're out. They're cut. They're done. No, grace is a lifelong ride to give grace and to receive grace. You need to understand that here today. You need to receive the grace that has been given to you. God is a God of grace and mercy. He extends the invitation. He says, I want you at the party. Will you just say you're coming and stop saying maybe? Oh, but maybe so much easier. Maybe I don't have to have too much commitment. You know what? I like maybe. You know what maybe is? Maybe is just showing up to church when it's convenient. Maybe is saying, you know what, God, you know, I like what you're doing here. I actually like the party. It sounds good. I may attend. Going puts commitment, and we don't like commitment. We're a generation of people that just do not like to commit to anything. It's hard for us to commit to a job. It's hard to do that. We keep looking for new opportunities. What's better for me? Maybe is the easy option. We need to stop saying maybe. He extended an invitation. He says his servants has sent those who have been invited. He says, go invite them back to the party. Go get them and bring them to the party. I have a party. Come to the party. The party. I have a party. I want them to come. Will you go get my friends? Will you go get the ones that said they're going? Will you go bring them, and will you have them show up? Here's the deal. You and I need to show up. See, maybe for you in here, some of us have click going. We say, oh man, that Jesus thing I'm in on. Like, awesome. Some of you have even been baptized. You say, oh man, I got water, great. But somewhere along the way, you never showed up to the party. You click going, say, oh, I'm in. I'm in on the fact I love Jesus, love everything that's happening here. But when push come to shove, did you show up? Because just as easy it is to hit maybe, it's just as easy as to hit going. But now it takes action. You see, when we're on our phones, we click ignore mean person. Maybe or going takes the same amount of effort. But actually what does take effort is actually showing up to the party. Showing up and being a part of it. And today I really feel like for so many of us have been saying, we're going. But we haven't showed up yet. We haven't brought the chips or the salsa. We haven't brought the cookies. We're just saying, I really like what's happening. I just want to be a part of it. But you haven't showed up to the party. It's time to show up to the party. Church, I'm going to speak with boldness and urgency for 2019. I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to push you. I'm going to move you in a direction to smack your face and say, get back on course. We got to wake up. Our church is about pushing you and challenging you. People say, well, Dustin, you're a different kind of preacher. I am a different kind of preacher. I'll tell you that. My thing is I want to smack you, and I want to get your face in the right direction to keep your eyes focused on Jesus. And if I have to do that every single week for you, say, you know what, the party is ready. Show up to the party. Be a part of it. We need to get our face smacked sometimes. Some of y'all need to ask for someone to smack your face. It's like walking on the beach in summertime at Clearwater Beach for guys. You got to keep your face in the sand. You look nowhere else. You got to keep that. No, baby boy, keep your eyes up here, right? You got to. We got to have that smacking at times because it's so easy to just drift back. It's so easy to just say, I'm going. It takes effort to show up. It takes effort to be involved. It takes effort. Now, what does that mean? Like, oh, I have to be at church every week? Yeah, come to church. Be a part of it. But you know what? More than that, go tell people why you love Jesus. More important than that, keep your eyes focused and fixated on him and not worrying about the enemies creeping in your mind and saying different things. Put your heart and trust and faith in him. And watch what he'll do. Could you imagine what God's going to do in 2019 if I can even get my faith to 10? Could you imagine what he could do with yours? Or could you imagine what he could do with an entire church that says, you know, we trust only in God and we trust only in plan A? Imagine what he can do. And the best part, it's not about you or I. I was challenged by a friend the other day. We were just having this conversation. And he said to me, he said this offer. He said, someone asked him this question. He says, hey, if you were offered, this is not how I want to end a message, but I'm going to end it this way. He says, if you were offered eternal life with everything you ever wanted, and you know what, everything, your friends are there, your family's there, everyone you cared about is there, but Jesus is not there. I don't need you to answer on this. Jesus is not there. Will you take it? Or if you were offered to only be with Jesus and Jesus alone, but your friends or family are not there, would you take this? And the truth of the matter, I think a lot of us, probably the majority of us, would land over here and say, I love my friends and my family. I care about them. I want to be with them. I want them. And I think that's where we would land. And I want us in 2019 to get our mind to say, you know what? It's only about Jesus and Jesus alone. But here's the best part. If you get Jesus, you get both. And that's the best part of it. So 2019, we're going to challenge that. We're going to push the faith. We're going to push your faith. We're going to push this and say, you know what? We believe God can and God will. God's promises always stand and he will always fulfill them. So you can bank on that fact. But I know it's a journey that we're on. We're on this together. So I challenge you to be a part of. If you don't like this church, there's a list of churches outside you can go to. And we find a church that fits you. But this church is going to have urgency. We're going to speak bold. We're going to have boldness in what we do. And we're going to live a life that is in a manner worthy of the gift and receive that we have received. So we're going to live that way for 2019. This is what our challenge is. I love you, church. Can I pray with you? Can I pray with you this morning? Will you stand on your feet? Father God, we come to you right now and we thank you for the opportunity to gather here this morning to worship you, to praise your name, to kick off the year right by giving you the first Sunday. And Father, that's what we want to continue for the rest of this year, Father, for these people in this place right now, Father, that they keep their eyes fixated on you, that our faith grows stronger, that we are okay to step into deep waters and try whatever you ask us to do and go wherever you ask us to go and do whatever you ask us to do. That's what we want for 2019, Father, that we live a life in a manner worthy of the gift that we have received with your Son, Jesus. That's what we want, Father. So help us today, Father, to live this way. We love you. And the church said, amen. Hey.